What is going on in the housing market? When are prices going to drop? And are you putting your family in danger because you're not buying a house right now? We're going to cover all that today on the Selling North Dallas Market Update. Let's go. What's up, you guys? Jono and Holly here with Selling North Dallas Real Estate Team. Holly, how's it going?
Great.
I think we've got some new and exciting stuff to talk about. The market is still doing crazy bananas. What is happening with this real estate market in North Dallas right now? What's going on with the rents? Let's just start right there.
Yeah, so we have definitely seen with property values increase over the last couple of years, we're seeing the rental rates increase along with it. Obviously, it's a trickle-down effect, right? If a landlord spends more, then they're going to pass that off, whether it's in more taxes or purchase prices, maintenance costs, things like that. So it does get passed off. And we've been in a market where we've had very low inventory. I will say in the last 30 to 60 days, probably the last 30 days, we're seeing more inventory back in the market. So we are seeing a little bit of softening in those rental rates as well, but they're still kind of at a historical high in North Texas.
Now, by chance, do you have the Selling North Dallas Real Estate Market Update tool where we could walk through? Because I know that we got some numbers heads on the channel. Let's see some numbers. All right. So what are we looking at here? Is this Collin County?
All right. So we are looking at numbers for Collin County. And as people who have been following us for the last few weeks, they know that we are looking week over week. So we're looking at micro data. Micro data is great because it lets us see things in real time, but it also doesn't let us see the big picture. I can see week over week that we're having, price per square foot on listed homes, right, continually going down in small micro increments, just like we can see, right, inventories going up, and we're seeing that happen in increments. So when we talk about rent, we have still been seeing from last week to this week, we're exactly the same on the median rent, but we have seen, right, if we go back in time, back here in April, our median rent for Collin County was $24.73. Today we're at $26.95. So we are continually seeing those rents increase. Last week to this week, we saw it just kind of stabilize, stay where it's at.
Why do we care about that? Why are we even looking at a metric like market rent? If I want to buy a house, why should I be concerned with what median rent's doing?
Well, Jono, if you don't own a house, where do you live? Do you live in an apartment or you live in another home and you're renting something? So most renters right now, if their rent is coming or their lease is coming due or has come due sometime this year, they have probably already experienced a rent increase or are expecting a rent increase in the next few months as they renew their lease.
So looking over here at the gas gauge, is this right? It says we're still in a seller's market.
We are very much in a seller's market. We can see how big this little piece of the pie is, right, to call us a buyer's market. What it takes for us to really be in a buyer's market means the buyer has an infinite number of choices of homes to purchase from that meet their criteria. They get to say, hey, I could pick any one of these 100 homes and they would all be a perfect fit for me. So which of these sellers has the motivation that I'm looking for, right? It needs to be priced the lowest. I need to have all the best, features in my offer. And we've been in such a strong seller's market because as you guys can see, we were over here just even in the last month, right? So we're softening a little bit, but we are still very much in a seller's market, meaning we still have considerably low inventory compared to what that would look like if we were really called a buyer's market right now.
Holly, anything in particular here that stands out to you that you want to cover?
One of the things we have listings on the market right now, and the sellers over the last 2 years have been really used to what we've been hearing in the news, sold in 3 days, under market, under contract in 24 hours. And we know that that's changing. That's what is shifting in the market, but we are not, I'm going to say we're not losing value. So my sellers that have their homes listed right now in the market, maybe they bought that home 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's listed today and they are making money. They have built-in equity from the day they purchased. We talk a lot about with buyers, are the prices going to go down? Should I wait another 3 or 4, 6 months? The answer to that is always going to be, we don't know what prices are going to do on a particular home in a particular city, in a particular market. We can watch data and we know what our long-term expectations are because most buyers in the housing market are considered a long-term investor, right? We are investing in real estate.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Surely you have access to data that would give you some kind of indication on what our property value increases have been, let's say year over year for, I don't know, the last 10 years. Do you have maybe a spreadsheet or something?
I am so glad you asked. Here's the handy dandy spreadsheet we're talking about. So what we did here is we pulled the median sold prices in Collin County. It only lets us go back 10 years in the MLS. So we went back to 2012 and basically it gives us every month the median sales price month over month, year over year. So we've averaged the increase year over year. So what this really tells us is, right, we can have crazy years like 2012 to 2013 where we increase 12+%, or 2020 to 2021 where we see a 15.5% increase. Those are massive. And then we have years where we might see 0.5%. What we don't see here from 2012 to 2021, we don't see a single year in Collin County that our average median closed sold prices were a negative. We average over the last 10 years, we've averaged 7.6% increase. So what this means, let's say this was the actual sales price. Somebody bought a home in 2012 for 194, right? 7% year over year. They come out right around this 376. That is a pretty nice increase in less than 10 years, what I would call kind of free money.
You know, free money is one of my favorite kinds.
It is my favorite kind of money.
I don't know if you know this. I know we go back a long time, but do you know what my nickname was in high school?
Was it free money?
It was free money.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know you in high school.
So many nicknames in high school. It seems like we're getting more and more calls each week from people that are seeing the value of investing in real estate. And they're reaching out to us and saying, I want to buy rental properties. Values are going crazy. Maybe they're seeing a stat like on average 7%, 7.68% year over year for the last 10 years. What are we seeing for our investor clients out there?
Yeah, so we're seeing a definite uptick. The last 2 years, we had such low inventory, and most buyers are aware that if you were in the market in the last 2 years, you were bringing cash to the table. We weren't seeing a lot of deals that were closing at list price, at appraised value. We were seeing a gap, right, between the appraised value, what the lender said the house was worth, and what a buyer said I'm willing to pay. So this is a big chunk of what we're going to be looking at over the next 18 to 24 months of how those numbers really start to flush out at the end, because lending value has gone up over the last 2 years, obviously, as those buyer values continue to increase. What is happening right now is because we are seeing more inventory in the market, the buyers are less willing to compete. Then my investors are right back in the market, and our rental rates are up. So there's still, now we're back to getting homes at value, at lending appraised value, and we're getting top of market rental rates. So if somebody's looking for a place to park money, and right now you're probably not looking to park your extra cash in the stock market, if you happen to have it sitting somewhere else. So we know that North Texas has a 7% average, 7.6% year over year for the last 10 years. It's a pretty safe investment. And that's why we're seeing a lot of new investors in the market even.
Wow, I love that. Anything else that stands out to you that we need to drop on these guys before we cut them loose for another week?
I want to always reiterate, because we run into the question, should I wait? Should I wait till prices set a little bit more, till, we're closer to a buyer's market? If you're renting right now, I feel like I say this every week, you're paying somebody's mortgage, and it's always a good time to buy, because your investment in North Texas real estate, odds are, if we look at the last 10 years, we can look at the next 10 years in a very similar fashion. Even if we have a soft year where we see that 0.5%, we can see a year over year increase. So when is the best time to buy? The best time to buy is when you are ready to actually invest in your own wealth instead of somebody else's. And real estate is the number one way to generate and hold on to your wealth. So if you don't have wealth right now, maybe you're renting and you're like, man, how do I get there? You start with buying your first house.
Well, Holly, thanks again for the update. Guys, if you got time to stick around, we got a video right here that you're not going to want to miss out on. So if you're wondering how you can get your hands on this report, the one that Holly was referring to earlier, you can actually get it for free. Down in the description, there's a link, there's a short form. It'll give you complete access to it. And it's not just here locally in DFW. If you're in another part of the country, you can run those reports as well. So that's in the description. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, we want to make sure that you've got everything that you need to stay on top of all the happenings here in North Dallas. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. And what should they do with the like button, Holly?
Give it a thumbs up.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.